Mhm. Yes.
Turn our volumes down. Oh no, wrong page. All right, close that. Here we are. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PureJoy podcast, a bi weekly exploration into what brings people joy. Every episode, we have on a new guest to talk about just that, really. What in their life brings them joy. It's not necessarily what brings them the most joy or the only thing that brings them joy, but it's just a thing that brings them light in their day to day or in their weekly activities or just in general throughout their life, with a little hope to spread a little joy to you folks, whether you find interest in these things or not. And yeah, this episode, I think, is no different than that. We're here to talk today about joy with our guest, Yume, a friend of mine, a streamer on Twitch. We've done a few projects together, hung out just a little bit here and there, and mostly just played a bunch of video games together. So Yume, welcome first to the podcast. If you would like, why don't you introduce yourself to us here and tell us who we're talking to today?
Thank you very much for having me on here. I was very excited when you invited me. My name is Yume, or Cosplay Gamer Yume on Twitch. I am bad at these, but I'm a streamer. I do digital art, and I I just like um I'm really bad at intros.
No, that's
There's
okay.
not much to say. There's not much to say about. So I stream. I like to do digital art. I have tremoring and twitching issues. I used to do traditional art, but now because of that, the digital assist that an iPad and Apple Pencil give me is really helpful for keeping me steady. That I am not as steady as I used to be, and I can
Mhm.
continue to do art. I almost chose art as a topic actually today.
Oh,
But yeah, I stream on Twitch and I am on the autism spectrum. I'm part of the LGBTQ plus community. And I like to cosplay.
yeah,
I think that's about it.
perfect. Yeah, no, that's a great introduction. What kind of art? Excuse me. What kind of art do you do? Um, yeah.
I have been like ever since I started streaming. I first started doing it for myself and just a few close friends, making emotes and little characters or really simple, non-animated starting screens. And then I recently got into trying to do animated emotes. I'm not the best at it, but I could do simple stuff. But I do a lot of cartoon anime style, mostly emotes, but I could do
Hmm.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Um, Great. Okay, well, that's perfect. Welcome again to the podcast. We like to start each of these episodes off with a little question, and that is somewhere that you have found joy today.
Somewhere I have found
Mhm.
joy. Somewhere, like a
Or just
place.
like yeah, like just like something you found joy in just today. I know that
Oh, just today.
yeah, 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 like this
Oh, okay.
morning or waking up or whatever, just a small moment that you found joy in.
Uh, I suppose small moment I found joy in is just this morning playing with my dog for a bit. Um, he can be a pain, but he has a lot of energy and he is very affectionate. So I found some joy in just tossing his toy for him.
What kind of dog do you have?
He is half German Shepherd and half Pit Bull.
Okay. Okay, and what's his name?
His name is Fenrir, and I call him Fen.
Finn. My cat, he's a long-haired orange tabby, like Maine Coon orange tabby mix,
Oh,
and
pretty.
his name is Finnegan, and of course we call him Finn also. Very good. Oh, excuse the gravelly voice today. Had a very long night last night at work. I slept in today. My whole schedule, my lord, has been changing around. I last job was 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And the last day of that job, I started my new job, which is 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. So it's like literally the opposite schedule. And then I worked my first week after that. So if I feel like jet lagged, you know what I mean? I feel like I've been traveling. Um, but this whole bit is about joy that I have found today, not my problems. No matter what, I'm in a good place. That is all good stuff. It's just switching over the sleep schedule. I did find joy though today in um well, I guess this is weird because it's gonna be pretty topical. But I played Pokemon Emerald Rogue, which is a roguelike build of like Pokemon Emerald. They took the routes and the layout and kind of broke it up into a randomized routing system. It's really neat and unique, and the way that you play Pokemon is like it's just very fast paced, and the level ends are pretty hard, and it just is a fun challenging game, and I was doing really well compared to how I've played in the past. So it was just a really fun morning playing that and trying out the new streaming service Kick. Yeah.
Awesome.
So our joys of the day out of the way. What in life brings you pure joy?
What in life? Um,
This is our topic at hand.
okay, I was about to ask.
Yeah.
So, in life, all throughout my life, something that has brought me joy is Pokemon. Just as you were talking about playing it, ever since I was about 10 years old, um, like very, very consistently, Pokemon has been an escape and brought me joy throughout my whole entire life.
Yeah. Yeah. What was that like starting for you at 10? Like where did you start in the series?
So it's really funny because I was 10 and we actually had just moved cities,
Mhm.
from a small town to a city, that is the capital of the state. And
Huge. Small to big.
the neighbor kids were playing outside, and I went outside to interact because I used to be outgoing once upon a time. And um, I was asking them what they were doing, and they said that they were playing Pokemon, and I'd never heard of it before. And so they told me about it, and so I just started playing with them, um, as I learned about Pokemon, and they gave me some of their extra Pokemon cards. And from there, I just like looked into it. They said it was on TV, so I started watching the show, and I like totally dove into it and became obsessed. And I started out, um, because I always have been somebody who likes things chronologically. I started myself at the beginning,
Mhm.
so it was Pokemon Red and Blue is where I started playing the games, and then I went up from there up to Scarlet and Violet. The only games I haven't played, is Sword and Shield because I didn't have a Switch until Scarlet and Violet came out. So I need to go back and get those to play them because
Now they're
it doesn't
available.
feel right. Yes,
Yeah.
I need to play them.
Yeah. Um yeah, that's great. Yeah, I went roughly in the same order. I think I w- wait, I was actually curious about something in that. So did it start with like cards for you? Were the kids outside playing with like the Pokemon cards, or were they playing
They were playing pretend, like pretending to be Pokemon
even
and
better?
trainers.
Yes.
So yeah, they were like playing like it was the anime show. So yeah, I started out just, and I remember very specifically, I was like, well, because I wanted to just jump in and play, because they were like, well, you can be a Pokemon and I'll catch you. And I was like, okay, um, what are some Pokemon? And they named a few, and I picked Eevee, so I was pretending to be an Eevee.
A good one. A good one.
Yeah. And it's funny because my favorite Pokemon is Vaporeon in Evolution.
Perfect. It's just sort of continued off of that first
Yep.
choice. Um, that's that's great. I find that a lot of, like, Pokemon fans, until you get into the more intense Pokemon fans, that a lot of people are just, like, in it because they enjoy the games, because they played the games forever. I started much the same. I remember I was playing outside and my mom came out. She was like, "Cartoons on today, but they're different than normal. There is this new cartoon, called Pokemon at the normal time slot." And I was like, not having it, but like, sure, let's check it out. And like episode 1, since then, just like watched it. And then I got a few on VHS, and then my mom bought me the Pikachu yellow Game Boy, and that's like been the progression, just like gotta play them all.
Yes.
Pokemon. Um but after it's like DS era, what that was like Diamond and Pearl. I sort of fell off until I picked up the Switch, and then I've gone back and I played them all on like the emulators and stuff now. Um, yeah, can't get enough. But it's great that you're much more like you're a more maybe well-rounded Pokemon fan with the animes. Have you ever read any of the manga?
um, I want to. I have seen bits and pieces, and I've heard stories from it. I need to actually like find it online and read through them because uh, they're just so different from like the anime that you see on TV and the movies and stuff, and they get really dark.
That's what
And
I've heard too. That's like the
yeah, I'm just
identifier
like, oh my
keyword.
gosh, people die.
People die, Pokemon do too, like, it's, like, a
Yes.
legitimate situation, whereas, like, in the games, it's all about it's, like, nullified by being fainting.
It's
Uh,
much, yeah, it's much more lighthearted. Like until it got to Scarlet and Violet, which I love that storyline. I won't give spoilers, but the ending, it got me. It
mhm,
got me.
mhm. Really solid, really solid. I love the moments in that game where you're going through and there's, like, because for me, it didn't the, like, reveals at the end didn't I didn't realize that was about to happen until, like, I was on my way down to the reveal. There was, like, a moment in there where I was like, "Oh, no. Oh, no. Is oh, no." And then we just kept going down and things kept, like, going down that path, and I feel like that was just, like, really good. I've never really felt that in a Pokemon game. There's not been, like, a huge mystery for the player, I feel.
Yeah, they took a really big step in going the direction they did, and I'm glad they did. And I know people complain about the graphics, but it seems like they prioritized the story, and I'm really glad they did personally.
I mean, I compared to the rest of the franchise, the graphics are significantly better than the normal Pokemon games I play. Pokemon Emerald
Yeah.
Rogue today, for instance, like
True. And like in coming from a game where I was playing red and blue and doing purposeful hacks to get the glitchiness, it was more nostalgic than anything to me when glitches happened.
mhm. I yeah, I don't know, I thought, like, yes, I'll give you that. It could have been more beautiful, but also it's just I don't know. I don't think that throughout the game did I want it to be prettier. I think I was just enjoying playing it. I think, like,
Yeah, same.
you
It
know
like I had minimal issues. I got stuck once at the very beginning, but it didn't like make me start over or anything. I just didn't try to squeeze into small places anymore after that because it made me get stuck and I couldn't get out. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's interesting all over the board, the, like, discourse about the quality versus the what could have been or whatever, but also, like, as a Pokemon fan who has been wanting more from my Pokemon games for since, like, 4th generation when I fell off, I
mhm.
am very impressed because I got more. I got more with the same feeling of catching my Pokemons and training them and
Yep, I love how they did it. I love the open world aspect. I love how the Pokemon are just there, you know, you're not running through grass. And maybe it's like more amazing to me because I missed Sword and Shield where it was a little bit more like that. But jumping into Scarlet, um, it just I loved everything about it. I loved the starters. I loved all of the Pokemon in there. I thought they were unique and cute, and I absolutely love also that they just went and gave other characters more personality instead of just, oh, that's just some gym leader, or you know, and like that they spent
Norman
the
is a good
time to
example. Not Norman, what's his name? The normal type
Larry.
Larry. Yes, I
Larry.
really like him.
I was so surprised. Oh, I won't give spoilers, but I was surprised to see him in more than one place, I should say.
Yeah, I mean his story continues much further than you would expect it to, and
Hmm.
the way that he speaks about himself and about what he does when that is happening is very interesting. Like it's
Hmm.
a really, to me, a really well-rounded character design. Even though, even just talking first encounter, I'll say that you're like, okay, this is the normal type dude for sure, businessman.
Yep.
Let's go,
Another
Larry.
Yes, and then I think they were trying really hard to reach all people and be very inclusive because they also, me being identifying as a non-binary person, like Rika, I love her, and the fact that everyone thought that she was a man and stuff, like because of how she looked, they're like, "Oh, look at that guy," and it's like, "No, that's a girl." Surprise! Like I just love how they also, when you make your character, they don't just say, "Are you a boy or a girl?" You just make your character,
You
and I
just
was
make
like,
your
"This
character.
feels so inclusive to me," and I really liked that. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of the different gym leaders bring a personality that I think they've been attempting to put into the game since maybe like Sun and Moon.
Hmm.
The gym leaders there have some spice to them, but it's so minor. You don't get anything more than this like, "Oh, you're here to battle me. Oh, you've beaten me," conversation from
Exactly.
maybe all but one every now and then. And here it's like
Hmm.
they all are important because they all have their own space that they occupy, and that is
Yeah, they
like
feel like people, like actual people, instead of like in the past games, they might pick like one specific other person that like you see everywhere else. But in this game, they tried to really make it like more like
everyone's a
real
part of the
life.
world. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like you can run into anyone at any time. It is a small world. In fact, the more people you know, the like more you see someone that you know out and about. And this is a very similar game. You will see faces multiple times, and it's many faces multiple times. Um, yeah, like even the little competition at the very end, I was just surprised at the faces I saw. Like,
Mhm.
like it was just
That
a
was
cute
fun.
little. It didn't feel as weighty as I would have expected it to, but I liked that. Like, I was expecting it to be intense, like, this is the top of the top. But it was,
Yeah, but it
like,
was more
friends
fun.
hanging out, yeah,
Yeah.
and that was cute, that was very cute, and it was yeah, it was nice to, like, party after a pretty intense campaign. Um,
Yeah, it felt like an after party.
so is Scarlet excuse me, so is Scarlet Violet, I think did you say your favorite generation now?
It is my second favorite Pokemon game.
Okay, what's your favorite?
I've always been a fan of Gold, Silver, Crystal, Heart Gold, and Soul Silver.
Yes, my favorite generation as well. I would totally, totally agree with that. And I would totally agree with like Scarlet Violet takes an easy second just because of the new stuff we get. But like, okay, so why is Generation 2 Gold, Silver, Crystal, and Heart Gold, Soul Silver your favorite generation?
I don't. I think it's just because I went into Pokemon, and then I remember when they because for a while it seemed like after they'd make a Pokemon gen, they were like, "Oh, well, they're not going to do any more Pokemon after this." Like there was always that rumor. Um,
Mm.
and I don't know. I think it was the first because it was the first experience of there's more. That's what stuck with me so much was you did Pokemon and then surprise there's new stuff and there's more and there's new types. It was all of these firsts for the first time and it hit different and it stuck with me. And all of the Pokemon are
Oh, oh, oh. Finn has something to say.
he barks anytime someone walks by the office where I'm in, even though the roommate lives here, he still
Finn.
does it. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
He's just a good guard. But anyways, it was a lot of firsts for the first time, and I think that's just what stuck with me is just experiencing all of that. Because like new stuff is always exciting, but there's nothing like new stuff for the first time, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, for sure.
and there's a lot of my favorite Pokemon are in Gen 2. Like my favorite bug type is Heracross. Um, I really like Cyndaquil and
Hmm.
Quilava and Typhlosion. They introduced eggs. There were so many firsts, like,
Mm.
and that has to be why it was my favorite and why it sticks with me. You got to go back to Kanto when you beat it, and then I was like, I understand why it's unrealistic to do it with every other game, but when we got to Hoenn and stuff,
So
and they didn't
disappointed.
do it, and you couldn't go back, I was so mad.
So disappointed. Yeah,
I was like, "What the
100%.
heck?
Every
What
other
are we
game that
doing?"
hasn't given me both has disappointed me.
Yes, I
Right
want
away.
that.
Yeah.
I want that. That was like one of my favorite parts of the games was the fact that I got to go and still travel to other regions. Like even if it was DLC you had to pay for, I would still pay for it if I could do it
Mhm.
in Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet.
Mhm.
Definitely,
100%.
like $30, $20 for a DLC to go to Kanto. Heck yes.
Yes, I would play that game 10 times out of 10. I would love that.
Yes.
And then especially with the open world build, it's not like they
Oh
would put
yeah.
you on a route. It would be Kanto, but a little
Oh,
bit
that'd
more
be so.
open.
Hmm.
You know, I guess it would have to be routed, like knowing the Kanto map. Like you can't, I guess what would open up is all those tree lines. Like everything is lined with
Hmm.
trees. You would just kind of
Yeah.
pick that up. That would be really intriguing.
Yeah, like also kind of similar topic of Legends Arceus. Like I'm really hoping they do Legends other like regions with that.
I
I
think the
really am
current
hoping
rumor is Legend Celebi is the
that
next
would
one.
be awesome. That would be so awesome, especially
uh,
since my favorite.
it's some more. I think it was more like pulls, like tugs at the time differences, um, f- that were presented during Scarlet Violet.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. What do you think about the DLC for Scarlet Violet?
I'm really excited for it. I'm definitely gonna get it
Hmm.
when it comes out. They didn't tell us too much about it, but I'm still excited because it looks like there's some new Pokemon and um, it looks really interesting. It looks very, I don't know what the right word would be to describe it. I want to traditional, like like I can't think of the word to describe it, but
Like this.
like older traditional
Oh,
kind of
okay, okay. I see what you're saying with traditional. Okay, like
like it seems like you're celebrating some kind of tradition with how they're um presenting the Pokemon. I'm really
okay.
bad at
No, no,
explaining
no.
this.
That's I think I'm on the same page. Just a different definition B of traditional.
Yeah,
For sure. I'm yeah. Like we are going to be going through some school tradition in order to make this
yeah,
happen, whether that is study abroad. a school competition where they send, I don't know, you send people to different schools. Definitely, definitely. I'm getting that vibe as well. It felt kind of Hogwartsy to me, right? Like it felt like I don't know, whatever. I don't particularly care about Harry Potter enough to remember all of it. I think it was the Goblet of Fire or whatever, where they did the big competition, and all the schools met up. I was, like, kind of instantly
Oh,
reminded of
okay.
that, situation.
I don't know Harry Potter very well either.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I read them all once, and now as an adult, I feel like with a conscience, I don't want to read them again. So
Yep, I I can agree with
yeah,
that.
100%, 100%. Anyway. Yeah, it feels very much like it's gonna be along those lines. I like that they're gonna give us some answers to some of the mysteries they set up.
Hmm.
It feels to me like Pokemon is taking steps in the right direction.
I agree.
For me as an adult, I don't know the comparison of how this is for a first time Pokemon player versus how, like, red, blue, yellow was for us. Because it was
Yeah,
so
I think
simplistic to learn, and then everything new has been really easy to pick up. Whereas, like, this might be pretty intense. There might be a lot more going on in Scarlet Violet for a first time player.
for sure. And when anyone who's never played Pokemon is getting into it, I always tell them to start from the beginning because it's the easiest way to learn. Jumping into the newest game, there's going to be an intense learning curve.
I mean, definitely, definitely. The comparison of, like, how many types were in the first one? Like 10
Um,
versus versus now where there's like so many more. You have to deal with so many type exchanges on the field. And then the new mechanics they're throwing at us, which I'm intrigued by because the normal battling is like I'm used to it, but like there's so much to do.
mhm.
And so many ways to play. What do you think the worst generation is? What's your least favorite generation? Have you played them all?
I've only not played Sword and Shield,
No, right.
so um I'm probably not going to be liked for this, but my least favorite is well, no. Okay, my least favorite, I was going to say Hoenn, but actually is Sun and Moon.
Mm.
Um I wasn't particularly a fan of how you did those little trials as opposed to gyms. I just wasn't a fan of it. I don't think it's bad at all. It was different, and I just didn't prefer it. But um, before that, I used to dislike Hoenn because I am not a fan of all of the surfing and all of the diving that you had to do.
Me too. Ugh, I was never like on the fan base of Hoenn. My least favorite has actually always been Gen 4. Just I mean I fell off. I like wasn't
Mhm.
particularly interested after I finished it. Introducing the god of Pokemon is very wild to me. It's too much for me for this like I don't know. It's just a little too much for me.
Yeah.
I don't mind the Team Rocket, and I don't mind big machinations on like Palkia. I understand that that's like almost a god of time, but or god of space, but like I don't know. Arceus feels like a step up, and I didn't
Hmm.
really particularly love that. But I also agree that like down on my list, pretty low, it has been Gen 3 as well, just because of there's far too many HMs.
Oh
Far
yeah,
too
I'm
many
glad
HMs.
that they strayed away from like HMs in the later games, and like in Scarlet and Violet, you can just fly to specific destinations with the little flight service thingy. I like that a lot better for fast travel than trying to get an HM and trying to have a Pokemon that can learn it and trying to
Yeah.
have that in your party to access specific areas and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I especially now that I do a lot more like challenge runs, I like some of these later generations. The first generations are tough because like Hoenn is really hard, I think, as a Nuzlocke because at some point there's not too many Pokemon that can learn cut before you need
Yep.
cut. And that
Unfortunate, like. doing Nuzlocke, I always allow myself that if I don't have a Pokemon that can learn it, I'm just gonna catch something and use it just
Mhm.
for that
Mhm.
because it's too it's not it's just too annoying otherwise.
Yeah, yeah, frustrating is definitely what it is. There's like I won't do it until I have to. Like I think I was blocked entirely at one point because I didn't have a Pokemon that can learn Rock Smash. And at some point you just can't go forward because there's two rocks in the way. Um but I don't know, like, because of that, I think I was also missing out on Pokemon. I had, like, 2 Pokemon at this point. I'm missing out on Cut as well, and so I missed this whole route of experience behind all the cut trees and another route, and so, like, by that point, I was just out. I was done. Um, yeah. Do you think that there are what do you think some challenges are? Hmm, no, 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 hold on. Let me think. My brain's in a little bit of a fog. Okay. So we've talked a lot about the various generations here and there. What about some specific Pokemon? You said Vaporeon is one of your favorites, and that some of your favorites, a lot of your favorites, lie in second gen. Um, what do you think it is about these early stages of Pokemon generations that a lot of your favorites lie in versus these later generations?
Probably just design and then typing for sure. Like I think Heracross he's a great Pokemon to have on your team. He's a bug and fighting type and he's strong and I think he has a good design. It's simple but cool. He's a uh longhorn beetle.
Hmm. Really
Um
neat.
yeah, and I always get excited when I like because I can't always recognize what the heck they're trying to go for, or they go for something weird when they make something new, like Trubbish. But uh, uh, it's neat when they design something after something that's obvious and then cool, like the Longhorn Beetle, or in Scarlet and Violet, I like Flamigo, the flying fighting flamingo.
Hmm.
Like his name isn't that creative. It's
Yeah.
just almost flamingo, but still, he's one of my favorite from Scarlet and Violet. I really liked him. I had him on my team. Um, I I would like Cyndaquil. I thought he was cute. I love all the evolutions. I am always disappointed when they come out with a new gen and they don't have a new evolution to go with it
Mhm, mhm.
because
I
I
need a
feel like
Dragon
there's
Eevee. It's shocking to
right.
me that there is no,
Why is
like
there not more? Why are you not doing this?
especially because they
There's
gave us, like, stones to interact with to evolve Eevees, like Glaceon, Leafeon. Like, it's not
Mhm.
a leaf stone, it's this stone in the wild that you touch or if, level up Eevee around. Um, there's no reason they can't introduce, like, a dragon type event like that. I don't know if that's a
yeah,
stone, but a dragon type event or
or ghost type or something,
ghost type, a steel type. Where's our steel Eevee? Um,
right?
definitely, definitely agreed with that. What's your least favorite evolution? You like them all. Your favorite is Vaporeon.
My favorite's Vaporeon. I do like them all, so I don't dislike any, but I guess if I had to pick an order, Glaceon and Leafeon are probably down there.
Hmm.
I like the originals. I really like Umbreon a lot. Like Umbreon's my second favorite.
Umbreon's so
But
cool.
I like Jolteon and Flareon and Espeon and Sylveon's cute and Leafeon and Glaceon are cute too, but I like the others more.
Sure, sure. I think Leafeon's the bottom of my list as well. I think it's just like a little not quite enough for me. I feel like uh, f- like using Flareon, Jolteon, Vaporeon, they all very much exude that element.
Hmm.
Glaceon really fair. Like I was shocked at Sylveon. Like, how do you do fairy and pull it off as like
Right.
a fit? I don't know. It's just like so unique.
Hmm.
But Leafeon is just a little weaker for me. Just a couple
Yeah.
leaves on the chest and the ear. I don't know. It's a little weaker. But I would. agree. You mentioned Trubbish. Is Trubbish on your like one of your least favorite Pokemon? Who are some Pokemon that
Oh
like
god.
you're not a fan of their designs?
I'm not a fan of Mr. Mime and Jinx's designs. Those are my bottom Pokemon. um and then like Trubbish and Garbodor, they're fine, but like they're garbage.
They're garbage. They're literally
Literally
garbage.
garbage. I thought it was really odd that they decided to make ice cream Pokemon as well.
I also don't like Vanillux.
Like, I don't know. I was like, are you really running out of ideas to where you need to go to food? Like, that seems weird.
It to me it felt that generation because there's Klefki, there's the garbage bag Trubbish, there is Vanillux, like that whole there's a lot of Pokemon in that generation that to me felt like a designer was sitting in their room and they were told 5 Pokemon end of the day and they're like, "Oh fuck, trash bag, trash bag. Yeah.
Yeah,
What else
that's
can I
what it
do?
feels like.
Keys. I like keys and I'm hungry. Ice cream cone." Like,
Right?
what are we
It
doing?
feels like they didn't put like I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did put in a lot of effort,
Sure.
but it feels so random. It like you said, looking on your desk, it's just like, oh, soda can Pokemon.
Soda can Pokemon. Absolutely. Absolutely. I would agree, Mr. Mime, I've always had a special relationship with Mr. Mime, an absolute wild Pokemon to me. The wildest design of all of the Pokemon, and it came in the first generation. That is a human man. That is a human man. And I know this. And I truly I have a fun side lore that Mr. Mime is Ash's stepdad.
I've
Uh
heard that lore.
it's my favorite one. What? Come on. This is a human man. Um, but for some reason, I love him now. I love Mr. Mime, and I know he's a human, and I'll have him on my team just so I can keep an eye on this dude. What creepy things are you getting up to, Mr. Mime?
Like he's a good Pokemon to use for sure, but like ever since I was small, I was just like, well, and I've never liked clowns, and he's looks like a clown, and I'm just like, I don't like that one. Mm-mm.
All design on that is a nightmare. Blaspheon, I thought was a much better clown, and that came in like Sun and Moon. It's one of the like Ultra Beasts.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that one I'm okay with.
yeah, I thought that was a
It's
much
weird, but I'm okay with. I'm just like, ooh, you're bordering there,
yes,
Mr.
yeah,
Clown.
definitely, definitely. But Mr. Mime is just like very clown, and Jinx
Oh,
also is a wild design.
yeah,
I
it's
don't know
like
how I feel about it.
I don't like the ones that are too human. I've realized because it doesn't feel right. It starts to not feel right.
It starts to
You
not
know,
feel right. What am I
it's
doing
like
fighting you against a friend?
right, and
Mr.
it's
Mime,
just like
punch that
where
Pokemon. Okay, man.
like Jinx is wearing a what looks like a dress, and it's just like that
A
seems
dress,
like
a
a
wig, and
person.
lipstick. Like it is all very
Yeah,
person stuff.
I don't want to assault a person. Like that's I'm not gonna get into it, but it just seems
It seems
borderline
wrong
weird.
compared I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of like dark ways to look at Pokemon, but that just takes it a step further. It really brings
Yeah.
like I don't know, beating up people into it. I don't know. It's just weird. It's very strange. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of my least favorite ones came later, like Klefki, Vanillux. I I think Trubbish is cute, but also like I still garbage bag,
Yeah.
garbage bag Pokemon. Um, I felt like a lot of the unique ones in Scarlet and Violet were really a switch back to this like pretty stellar designing process of
Hmm.
like Bramblin, a very weird Pokemon, definitely just a tumbleweed, but also like
Hmm.
it fit in the way that like these things fit into the Pokemon universe to me very well. And that
Yeah.
was like a lot of the weird Pokemon. The only one I would say I truly dislike from Scarlet Violet is Varoom.
Same. I thought it's like it's an engine
It's a what are we doing? This is a car.
powering car. Yeah.
What are we doing here, Pokemon? This is a car. What am I going to
That's
use
honestly what
Klefki
I
to
don't like.
start Varoom? Like ugh, come on, guys. Yeah, Varoom didn't do it for me, but I very much enjoyed all the like legendary editions, all very cool, all
Hmm.
very unique and filled with the lore that I love so much about legendaries. Not a huge fan of the cycling Pokemon. I don't
Yeah, it's a little. I know they were trying to just do away with the bike and have something else.
give me a bike. Just give me a bike
And
right off the bat.
like, I personally think Koraidon pulls it off a lot better than Miraidon.
Hmm.
But still, it is weird. It's like, why does he have to look like a bike? Why can't I just ride him around? Like,
I'm okay. Exactly. I wish people were just like riding a Tauros or like, you know,
like a
a
Rapidash or something.
Rapidash. Yeah, exactly. They're just like riding a Pokemon, then building a Pokemon race to be subjugated in the way of being everyone's bike. Cyclizar as a
Yeah.
whole is just there to be a bike.
Yep.
And it's just weird
It's
to me.
odd.
Odd, odd, odd. Um, yeah. Yeah. On the subject of Scarlet's Violet's pretty decent legendary list, who are some of your favorite like legendary, I don't know, there's always like a legendary trio or duo or a legendary squad. Who's like some of your
Yeah.
least or some of your favorite of those legendary squads?
My favorite of the legendary squads is definitely Gen 2, Raikou, and Suicune. I
Okay.
really like them the best. I like Suicune a lot. The legendary birds are cool too. I wasn't a huge fan of like Regirock, Regice, Registeel. I was like, "Oh, giant rocks,
And then
cool."
Regigigas, like
Yeah.
come on.
Um, so yeah, those were probably my favorite. And then my brain is not working, so I can't think of any others right now.
Yeah, I think honestly, because like what there is there's like Dialga Palkia, Giratina
Oh,
Cresselia.
Giratina, yeah. Giratina I thought was cool.
Giratina's pretty neat. Giratina's pretty neat. There is the Landorus, Tornadus.
Oh yeah, I didn't like those ones. I thought it was weird. I was like, are they genies? What are they?
They're genies, right? That's the vibe I get
Yeah.
100% off of that. Is just like genie Pokemon, and I'm, eh.
Yeah, I was
Um,
very meh about it as well. And they didn't seem very unique from one. They seem too similar, like the designs and everything. It's like you are basically the same but different colors.
it's like back to the Regice, Regirock, Registeel
Yeah.
thing as well to me. Is that they're all the same. Too similar. Like if one was a Regifire, a Living Flame, that would have made the trio automatically cooler, I feel. Just like a
Yeah.
little bit more diversity there would have
Yeah. Speaking of the similarities, I just remembered Azelf, Mesprit, and
Uxie.
Yuxi. Those ones again were just like they're Walmart brand Mew. What is this?
Walmart brand Mew, they were trying really hard to follow up the incredible design of Mew. One of probably my favorite overall Pokemon.
Oh yeah, Mew's great.
Love Mew. Just a cute ass flying cat. Love that. I love it.
Hmm.
So adorable. Yeah. I've gotten into some verbal toughs with folks over like Mew versus Arceus. Like I wouldn't do that with another Pokemon, but I love Mew so much. Um yeah. Yeah. What type trainer do you think you would be? I feel like all of the games type, trainers usually, or like gyms, I guess, are mostly typed. But a lot of trainers like a hiker, that's kind of typed, bug catcher
Okay.
typed so much. What kind of like type trainer do you think you would be
Um,
if you were like
I guess like a ace trainer,
okay, okay.
like a tougher trainer that has just kind of random Pokemon, whatever they like that is strong that they've been training. Nothing that's like just a specific one type of
Hmm.
Pokemon, like a Fisher only has water types, a Bugcatcher only has bug types,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
No, Ace Trainer is a great pull. Who do you think like some of your favorites would be off the bat besides I guess Vaporeon?
Besides Vaporeon, like Typhlosion and Heracross. I like Dragonair a lot.
Mm.
I think it. I was disappointed when Dragonite wasn't continuing the like snaky form, but Dragonite's still a good Pokemon. What else? I really like Torterra as well.
Okay, yeah. That's a good
Um,
turtle. That's a good turtle.
yeah,
I feel like I see you on the victory road here on the way to that
yeah,
Elite Four.
that's where I'm hanging out.
Just doing some back training before you head on in. I feel like I would be a dragon tamer. Because I
Nice.
only love to challenge myself, and I guess if it's not an extreme challenge, I am less interested.
Hmm.
uh, yeah, Dragonite, my absolute favorite. I love Dragonite as far as the dragons go. They're all pretty good. They're all pretty good. I even enjoyed, although the design felt sort of copyish to me, I enjoyed Baxcalibur. I don't love the name, but
Oh yeah.
even though it's kind of copyish of Tyranitar, I felt it changed it up just enough that I was like super
Hmm.
down because I feel like they've all been pretty different. Garchomp, very different from
Very
Dragonite,
different.
from Hydreigon. Like they're all so unique
Oh,
that
Hydreigon's a good one.
that Baxcalibur felt a little weak for me.
Yeah, a lot of people
Design-wise, I
not
still
not
like
a
him.
fan of
Yeah.
Baxcalibur. Thinks I think, but that's still alright. It's still a good Pokemon.
He
Still,
was
I
on
think
my final
pristine.
team, no doubt.
Uh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, well, excuse me. No, I'm just out. Okay. Um, I think that yeah, I think that was a pretty good conversation on Pokemon. Got to pick your brain about your favorites, your least favorites, designs, games,
Hmm.
storylines as well, etc. Absolutely. I appreciate you making the time to come on out. As we begin to wrap up here, why don't you summarize sort of for us what about Pokemon just like brings you so much joy, where you think someone on the outside, maybe if they've never played Pokemon, could find joy in this topic.
Yeah, Pokemon brings me joy. It's been a part of my life since I was a child into adulthood. It is the type of thing where kids, teens, and adults alike can all enjoy it. It's for any age. It can challenge your brain on different levels. You can do casual. You can make it more intense and get into the IVs, EVs competitive play. uh, there's a level of it for everybody. There's even the side games. If you don't prefer the mainline games, you could do Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Pokemon Ranger, Pokemon Coliseum. There's a lot of different variations of Pokemon. There's even Pokemon Puzzle League. Um,
We didn't even talk about
so
all the side games. Good lord.
yeah, there's tons of them. My favorite side game is Coliseum. I wish they'd remake it.
They need to so bad. That whole generation. They're also, I don't know, sorry to break up your train. They're that Coliseum and Gale of Darkness are the two most expensive Pokemon games.
They are good games. They
Hmm.
really are.
Hmm. I just thought it's wild. Like buying a copy of Gale of Darkness is like hundreds of dollars.
That's insane.
It's wild. It's wild. Even if you find it in like a resale shop, it is still hundreds of dollars, or at least over 100, 150, 160. Like it's just huge for a GameCube. I mean, GameCube was an incredible generation. Anyway, sorry I love that. I love that little tidbit.
uh, yeah, definitely a great game, but Pokemon, it has so much to it, so much variety. It's been going on for so long and so strong still, and I hope that it's something that will continue to bring me joy as I get older and older, and I really hope it never stops. Most things, like, I feel like this should come to an end, but Pokemon has been something consistent enough and doing well enough that I feel like it could just keep going on forever.
There's not really a lot of things I think that have that many generations. It's almost like I mean, it is a TV show, sure, but like following the game is almost like a TV show as well. Like you get a new season
For sure.
every year, and it's just such a unique thing for a game to continue this long.
Yep, there's so much. There's like, and even if you don't play the games, there's the show, or you could read the manga. You could, um, there's just a lot of aspects to it. There's a trading card game, and yeah, so
There's so
Pokemon
much to
brings me
find
joy.
joy in. Yeah, yeah.
There's so much, and I think there's something for everybody when it comes to Pokemon.
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. Okay, so then maybe in a secondary in closing, why don't you talk to us a little bit about your streams, when you stream, what you stream, where we can find you. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, well, I stream on Twitch Monday through Friday, 7:30 Pacific Standard Time to about 9:30 Pacific Standard Time. I do Pokemon on Wednesday and Thursday. Right now, I'm playing through Dead Space 3 with a friend of mine, the Tomato Crusader, on Twitch. So right now, Wednesdays is actually Dead Space 3, but usually Nuzlocks are Wednesday and Thursday. I'm playing through Legends Arceus on Monday right now. And then we're going to go through all my Switch games, which I only have 5. And I'm finishing up Dishonored on Friday. I do horror on Tuesday. I'm going out of order, sorry.
No, it's
Um,
okay.
I do horror playthroughs on Tuesday or horror-esque. I'm playing through The Sinking City right now.
Mm.
I upload on YouTube and TikTok. I pretty much put my content everywhere, and Gamer Yume on Twitch, or not Twitch, sorry, YouTube, Cosplay Gamer Yume on Twitch. Uh, and um, yeah, I'm very inclusive, LGBTQ plus community. A lot of my community is neurodivergent, um, in some way or another, ADHD or autistic, etc. Um, and we're just a very welcoming, open-minded, inclusive community. Very chill, no drama. My streams are very mellow, kind of relaxed. Can get very out of context and funny. One of the things one of my mods likes to do most is just do a bunch of out of context quotes and add them to the stream, so you can just get these random quotes with exclamation mark quote. Um, yeah, that's
Perfect. Perfect.
me.
Well, I appreciate excuse me. I appreciate you making the time to come on out and talk to us today about Pokemon and just sort of sharing your experience there with us and maybe hopefully helping find someone else a little bit of joy in this topic.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. We're gonna do some close-up stuff here, but I'll reach out to you soon and we'll chat about it.
All right, awesome.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
All right, everyone else, let me do this. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, give me just a second. Sorry, folks. That sucks. Oh, there it is. Already fixed. Okay. And then fix the face cam because hey, all right. Now we're here, folks. I want to appreciate all of you for coming on out and joining today on this episode of the PureJoy podcast. Today, with my guest Yume, we spoke a lot about Pokemon, the nostalgic feelings it brings. We've been playing this game forever, and there's so much joy to be found in it. It grows with us over time, sometimes in ways that we don't love, and sometimes in ways that we love so very much. It's like it's a growing organism at this point, and keeping up with it for as long as Yume has and as I have, as many of us have out here, it is, I think, pretty easy to find joy in this topic, and a great topic to find joy on. um, it's a game that's been around for so long, anime, manga as well, of course, and Pokemon cards. There's so much, as you may said, so much variety of joy that can be found here. Whether you like collecting, whether you like the sort of like combat mechanics, whether you like anime, whether you like manga, like it's all there's so much to it, and it just continues to grow and improve or change in in sometimes pretty challenging ways, especially in the most recent generations. There's a lot more to do and focus upon. And if you've never played Pokemon, then there still is joy for you to find here. If you have access to any of them, it's definitely worth a play. Again, whether you would just enjoy the collecting of Pokemon, you can go through and just collect them all. You'll have to do a little bit of battling here and there. If you enjoy the competitiveness, like Yume said, there is a huge competitive side to Pokemon battling and like the ranking leaderboards there. There's so many different side games. If you don't enjoy if the main line isn't your steez, there's so many side games that we didn't even get into talking about, but are definitely worth a research. Side games like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, a very different approach to playing this game. One of my favorites is actually a Japanese release of Pokemon called Pokemon Conquest, in which you're sort of playing like almost like chess with Pokemon. It's very interesting, very unique. There's just so many different types of Pokemon games and Pokemon out there that there's joy for all to be found, like Yume said. I want to thank Yume for coming on out and joining us today on this episode of the podcast, being so open with us about her experiences with this topic and sharing them with you folks to hopefully find a little bit of joy in this topic. I want to appreciate you folks for coming on out and listening to this episode of the PureJoy podcast with us. Yeah, I really do appreciate you folks helping this podcast be so much more than I ever thought it would be. If you are listening, please go out and rate us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you find the podcast. Drop us a rating, drop us comments if that section is there. Let us know what you want to hear from us. Maybe I can seek out the right kinds of guests to give you folks the topics you're after. Because otherwise, it's just sort of my fun ADHD approach to whatever topics I can find, really, right? It's always interesting, like, what topics I'm gonna find for the next episode. I truly don't know when I go looking, and that to me is one of the most exciting things. So I appreciate you folks joining me on this journey. And I also want to thank Mayonnaise and Murda for letting me use their music in the edits of the podcast. We're talking the intro and outro, which is Missions by Mayonnaise, and the transitions are all Little Thing by Murda. You can find these artists on Spotify, on SoundCloud, on YouTube, wherever you find your music. There's probably something there for them to find. Go out and support them. Give them the same kind of ratings. They're so gracious in letting me use their music. I'm very appreciative. And yeah, folks, I think that's going to do it for the episode. But I really appreciate you folks coming on out and joining on this episode of the Pure Joy podcast, and we'll see you next time.